TradingView is one of the most popular charting platforms out there, and for good reason. There are so many cool and unique tools that make TradingView so great, but that's not what this video is about. Because of its long list of features, it's easy to get lost in the weeds of coding, indicators, and all of the other cool stuff TradingView has to offer. Now, as a price action trader, I'm going to show you how to get up and going fast with TradingView and show you all the most popular and important features I use on a daily basis. So if you like videos like this, consider liking and subscribing. And with that, let's go ahead and get into the video. Okay, so here we are on TradingView. And as you can see, here is the chart. Everything that we're going to be doing is right here, but all around us are a bunch of different icons and features that TradingView has to offer. And like I said, we're going to be going over the most important ones. And starting out, we're going to go over layout. Layout is the first thing that you need to set and save for all your future sessions when you're trading. So right here, you're going to see this little square icon right here. If you select it, it's going to give you a list of different screen options. So you can set 2, 3, 4, and it will give you a bunch of different variations that you can choose from. So for example, if I select this one, it's going to give me 3 different screens, and I can select different assets that I can put on here. I could change this one, put it as the NASDAQ, I could have gold, and I could have silver here. Or you could do all the same and just do different time frames, and that's what I actually do for my trading. On the top left, you'll see all of these different tabs. If you wanted to create a brand new session, you can select Create Layout, and it will allow you to start creating your own layout. And as you'll see, it'll say unnamed right here. But this is the layout that I currently use. I have 2 vertical charts, and then I have another vertical section that's broken down, giving me a total of 4. Now, this top one here is my 1-minute chart, which we'll get into time frames here in a second. But the bottom one here is my 5-minute chart for the NASDAQ, and this one right here is my 15-minute chart on the NASDAQ. And then the far left one that I have is the S&P 500. Since it's a correlating asset, I want to look and compare it to the NASDAQ to see if there's any correlation between the assets. So depending on how you want your layout, you're going to set that. Now, we're going to end up saving this layout here where you can create a copy, create new layout, and you can actually auto save it so you can use it over and over. If you look over to the right, you're going to see the setting icon. This setting is going to get into the settings and customizations of your screen. Starting at the top, we have symbols. Now, I like green and black candles. Green are my bullish candles and black are my bearish candles. I don't like red. It has a triggering effect for me of losing money, so I wanted to eliminate that altogether. Now, as we go through this, you're welcome to find and follow the icons that I actually select for my screen, and you can follow and use those as well if you would like. The last thing that I'll note here is time zones. I always set my time zone to UTC 5, which is New York. Next, we have our status line. The status line is up here at the top left. You'll see all of these little icons here telling us different things about the charts. Now, over here we have our logo. You can add or remove the logo. You have your title and charts. You have your chart values. You have your bar change values, and then all of these other icons. If you use volume, last day change values, or backgrounds, you can select those if you would like. Now for scales and lines, you're going to see only a couple things that I have selected. No overlapping labels. I want to make sure I have the plus button, which is this little square black thing that follows my cursor around. And then I want the countdown bar to close. I love this feature. The day of week on the labels I have selected. And then there's a couple things I have hidden that I want to make sure I point out here. We have the bid and the ask I have hidden. I don't care about that. I don't care about the high and low. I'll mark those myself. And then the previous day close, I mark that in another way myself, which will show you how to save your own custom tools on your screen here shortly. Next, we have Canvas. Canvas is going to give us the color of your background, your grid lines. If you want grid lines, you can have them. I have mine removed because I really like a clean chart, but it will give you the grid look on the screen. The crosshairs, I have them a little darker gray than the screen because it's extremely helpful when I'm looking at one chart and I want to see it on another chart. So you can see how when I'm on this top right screen, you can actually see my cursor and the lines on the bottom screen. You can have a watermark on here. I have mine removed because I like a clean chart. You can select the text color and lines plus the margins that you want on the top, bottom, and right for when you are having your charts load. Next is your trading. I created a whole video on this, so I'll link that video up in the corner if you would like to see how we take our executions, and I'll link it at the end of this video as well. And then the last one is going to be events. I have session breaks, continuous contract switch, and latest news selected. Now, once you select everything that you want for a given chart, we're going to go down to template and we're going to select save as, and you're going to name it. Once you name it, it is now saved and it will show up here with that name and under your recently used templates. And now it's saved. And you can create multiple ones depending on the plan with TradingView that you have, which is extremely helpful if you have the pro version because it's going to give you a lot of different things that you don't get on the free or cheaper versions. Now that we got our base template made on what our charts are going to look like, let's talk about time frames here. On the top left, you're going to see all these time frames here. Now, if you select the little caret here, it's going to give you a drop down, and then you'll see the stars next to my favorite time frames that I use very frequently. If I was to remove this from my favorites, you'll see it remove from right here. You can add or remove the ones that you want that you use most often. You can also create your custom interval, whether it's a custom time frame or if you use number of ticks before the next candle shows up. I use time. Time is extremely important in my trading. Moving along to the right, we have indicators. Now, there are endless number of indicators. People make whole YouTube channels based on indicators and make a living based on selling indicators. So there's so much here that we're not going to get into. It's just going to get into the nitty-gritty where you can actually find any specific indicators that you want to include or you want to use based on your trading style. For me, the only thing that I use is this water marker here. And if we go to my screen right here, you'll see on the top right of each screen, it gives the name of the contract and the time frame. I do this here because I obviously live stream and I want to make sure everybody knows the charts that I'm using so I don't get a million questions on what time frame is that? What asset are you using? So this allows me to simply have it on the screen in a very easy way that I don't get all those questions. But if you simply do a search here, you can search anything that you would want. If you want high and low, it gives you high and low pivot points. It can give you yesterday's high and low. There are hundreds of different indicators you can put on your charts. Feel free to check them out and find the ones that work best for your strategy. Moving along to the right, the replay bar is very helpful as you're learning your strategy. You simply select it and it will allow you to basically erase or go back in time to a certain point in your trading charts to where you can now practice what would happen if price begins to move higher. So for example, if I saw price run up into here, this would be a mitigation block. And if I thought that I could go short right here, I could sell, do a demo sell right here, and then I could play it out and see if price actually goes in my favor. Once I do that, I can close that. And if I look on the bottom left right here, you will see replay trading, which it'll show all the trades that I've taken in this particular session, what my percent of profitability was. Basically, you can see if you're doing a good job managing your risk and how you're doing with your trading, all in a safe environment before you ever go live with real funds. Now, that's going to be it for the top. You're going to see this floating favorites bar. We'll get into this here in a second. I'll move that down so it's very obvious. But on the right-hand side, we're not going to look at any of these except for this layer icon. This layer icon is actually where all of your objects will show up. If I was to select this trend line right here and I put it right here, you can see that it showed up inside of this layer box. And if I want to organize all of the different lines that I create or different boxes that I have, I can start grouping these together and I can create groups. When you create these groups, it actually allows you to hide them all at the same time, which is a very nice feature if you want to keep things on your chart for a long period of time. Now we're going to jump to the left side and we're going to talk about the charting tools. Now, all the charting tools that I use are going to be on this left-hand side. And just like for the time frames, if you select over, you can actually select your favorites. And when you star your favorites, it goes onto a favorites bar. Now this favorites bar may be hidden for you, and if you go down to the bottom of your screen, you'll see this little star icon. If you select and highlight the star icon, it will actually highlight your favorites bar so that all of your favorite charting tools are all in one place and very quick for you to grab. Now these are the ones that I use most common, but there's so many over here that you can explore, including on the left hand side is icons. You can select different icons. For example, if I think this was a turtle soup, I can put a turtle here to indicate on my live streams that this was a turtle soup. But the most common tools that I use are as follows. I use a horizontal array where if you select and drop it, it will give me a line all the way over to the right side. Then I have the trend line, which is right here. Then I have a short position and long position. This basically gives me a box that I can actually play out to find out what my risk to reward would be if I was to take a trade at any given point in time. And it would tell me what my risk would be, how many handles it would be. There's so many other features. By right clicking on this, you can go to your settings and you can actually edit any type of settings for this particular short position. You can also do it for the long position if you were to do a long one right there. So all of these are going to be options for you to select and edit. And any of these items, if you right click them, it's going to give you additional options for that tool that you selected. If you go down to settings, it's going to let you edit the style, which there's so many different types of styles. You can add text to it, whether you want it on the middle, right, or top, like this. You can see it's on the right hand side right there, or maybe I want it on top instead of on the line. And then you can have your visibility, whether you want it to show up on the hourly, daily, weekly charts. Maybe you just only want this to be on the minutes charts. So you're going to unselect the hourly so it doesn't show up on a higher time frame. Very helpful to keep your charts clean and organized, which when you do this for a long period of time, it's so easy to get cluttered. This will help you stay organized. In addition to these short and long positions, we have the rectangle box, which is probably the one tool that I use most often in line with the trend tool. Then we have our text, gain box, our Fibonacci retracement, our path tool, which if I'm talking and I'm telling people where I think things are gonna go, this is what I would use. And then we have our vertical line tool. If I wanted to indicate 4 o'clock p.m., I would just put a line right here, and that would indicate the 4 p.m. time frame or 4 p.m. time within the chart. Now, all of these are very, very helpful, but what becomes more helpful is when I select a line. Let's just say I want to use this line right here, and this right here has equal highs. This high and this high interact with each other. So I might want to call this equal highs. Now, once I create this and I go into the coordination, I select my style, what I want it to look like. I put my text in there. I want it in the center. I want it on the right-hand side. Once I select what I want this equal highs bar to look like, the next thing that you really want to make sure you do is you're going to want to save it under templates. If you click this caret and you select save as, you can actually save this as a equal high. Once you save it, now if you go into tests and you look through this, you'll see the equal highs right here. Now I have a list of all of the ones that I use on a daily basis, so I don't have to edit them every single time. And it also gives you a remove button right next to it to get rid of all of the other clutter, the ones that maybe you're testing and you don't use or you just want to get rid of. So I'll just put this up here so you can see the ones that I use most often. And then I have one also for my rectangle boxes. These are the ones that I use and I have most often. And you can create your own on what you want them to look like, but I use one. I have a 5-minute SIBI, BISI, a 4-hour fair value gap, a 1-minute inversion, 1-minute fair value gap. All of these I use very regularly, and I have specific looks and feels for each of these with the text also included in them, also based on the visibility of when I want it to show up. Okay. The last thing that I want to show you before I give you a couple bonus tips is on the bottom. is the trading panel. There's a bunch of different things down here, but I really want to make sure you understand where the trading panel is. This is where you're going to actually connect to a broker. So I personally trade with, my broker is TradingView. So if I select TradingView and I select my account, which I have funded accounts with Apex, you can find the discount code in the description. It's DTJ. It will give you a discount code anywhere from 50% to 90% off. Feel free to use that. If I select that, it will actually load it right there. And now I'm connected to my broker and I could actually take trades on this account. Now, since you've made it this far with me, I want to give you just a couple bonus tips that will make your charting experience just a little bit better when it comes to using your charting tools. And that is going to be in regards to the trend line. So if I create a trend line and I want to make it straight and I really want to make a level area, all you have to do is select and hold the shift button and it will make a nice straight line for me. In the same token, you'll see that I have selected under the settings right here, I have snap to chart. Actually, it's right here on the left. You'll see the little magnet. What this does is it will snap to the high, low, and close of the candle you're sitting on. So if I wanted it on the exact high, I could drop this on the high and boom, I know that's the exact high. I can select the shift button and it will give me a straight line from that exact high. But sometimes I may want to highlight the trend line that's going right here and I don't want it to get caught up on here. So if I instead hold control, it will remove that snapping feature to allow you to get a nice smooth experience in laying down that line tool, just like that. In addition to that, when you shift and you move your screen up and down, there's going to be a couple things that will make your experience a little bit better. So you look at my mouse right here. I use this tool, little thing right in the middle. Honestly, the scrolling tool, I don't know what it's called. But when I move it back and forth, you'll see that it shrinks and moves from left to right. Now, if I hold the control key, instead of it moving it left to right, it shrinks it right in line where my mouse is. And it stays focused on that particular area. So if I wanted to focus right on here, I can hold down control, do that scroll, and it zooms in right to there. And then if I hold shift, it just slides me left to right. Lastly, if you want to snap back, if you are really small, let's say you're really tight like this, and you want to get back to a regular size, if you go over the numbers and you double click the price levels, it will basically fill the screen to where it is. You can do the same thing with the time frame. It will zoom it out to be a specific time or give it a certain amount of candles on the screen based on your preference. And these will make your experience a lot better. The last thing that I do quite often is I love to measure how big a candle is. If I hold the shift button before I click anything, and then I click, and then I'm still holding the shift button, and I'm I can let go of the shift button actually. It gives me this blue box. As soon as I click again, say I want to measure from this place to this place, and I select again, it will measure it for me. So you can measure all kinds of different things, and as soon as you click out of it, it removes it. But I can measure all different things anytime that I would want to do, and this will just make your charting experience just a little bit better. And that's the quick and dirty of TradingView on all the things that I use on a daily basis. Now, as I said in the video earlier, if you want to see how to take executions, there's several different ways that you can take executions on TradingView. Check out this video right here, and thanks for watching, guys, and we'll see you in the next video. Take care.